Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice to radio, so today I am showing you the new Shaymin card from the upcoming Fairy Rise expansion in Japan, and this one's kind of useful, especially in the context of some of the other cards we've seen from Fairy Rise. If this had been one of the first cards leaked from the set, my response would have been, it's alright. But actually, having seen the other cards in the set, and any ones I'm talking about, I will obviously link them in the description, I'm actually getting more and more excited about this the more I look at it. Now, it has been revealed and translated by the lovely David Hochmann himself, Mr. Rappelman TCG, over at limitlesstcg.com/translations. And starting off, it's a basic grass Pokemon, which means that you can use the new Netball card, which lets you search for any basic grass Pokemon or basic grass energy, put it into your hand. That's kind of nice. And of course, being a basic grass Pokemon means you can use Ether Paradise Conservation Area. Not that I think you will, and not that it's particularly good, but just that it remains technically an option that you should have it in your mind. You are hitting weakness against a Lycanroc, for instance, or a Lapras, although this really isn't an attacking Pokemon, but technically you're hitting weakness, yay, etc. And weakness to fire. I mean, look, the good thing about being weak to fire is that either you're going to come against something like a Ho-Oh GX, which you'll get a straight one-hit KO, or you're going to be up against something like a Moltres that hits 30, double with weakness is 60, but you've got 70 HP, so you'll survive. Yes, 70 HP is incredibly low, but there's nothing we can do about it. And a retreat cost of 1 means that escape board post-rotation will give free retreat, and as I've said in a number of videos, with Flowstone rotating, I expect that card to see a fairly marked increase in play. Now, it is a bench sitter, and it's got a bench sitting ability. Floral Heal. Once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from your active grass Pokemon. That, ladies and gentlemen, is not bad at all. I mean, a little while ago, Seismitoad decks were using Jinx to heal 10 damage from their active Pokemon. So this is like 2 of those. And I refuse to believe that a card that saw play would not then lead to a card which is literally twice as good not seeing play. That makes no sense to me. I'm sure that Shaymin will see play in grass decks. The question is, what are you going to be playing it with? And the first thing to mention is you're going to be playing it with Life Forest Prism Star. This is a card we looked at the other day, link in the description, and it says that once during your turn you may heal 60 damage from one of your grass Pokemon and all special conditions. It's Pokemon Center Lady, but has a stadium that you can use every turn rather than as a one-off. And of course it's got that beautiful rule that Thunder Mountain had, and that I assume that all future Prism Star stadiums will have, in that it cannot be affected by items or supporters, i.e. it can't be field blown away. You have to either replace it or play an attack which discards the stadium. So that's pretty nice. And that heals 60 damage per turn. So now you combine it with a Shaymin, and you heal 80 damage per turn. That's very nice. But this Shaymin stacks. So if you've got 1 Shaymin on the bench, you heal 20 damage from your active every turn. But if you've got 2 Shaymin on your bench, you're healing 40 from your active grass Pokemon per turn. 3 Shaymin and you're healing 60 from your active grass Pokemon per turn. I could keep going and going, but I think you get the point here. Shaymin stacks and you can be healing. In theory, and this is quite a bit to be honest, I'm not saying that you should definitely do this, but I am saying that if you have 4 Shaymin on your bench, and you have a Life Forest Prism Star, then you're going to be healing 140 damage from your grass Pokemon per turn. I mean, if you really want, you can go and bring Gardenia into this party, and that would be fun. Honestly, I think that might be a little bit over the top, but I'm not saying you can't. What I am saying is that this is a lot of fun just as a great healing card. It's taking up a bunch of space on your bench. That's one of the biggest arguments against Shaymin, yeah? You've got to find that space on your bench, and it could be a little bit awkward trying to find that. But the healing here is immense. Nobody's played Gardenia. And I don't blame them for not playing it. It's a kind of card where you look at it and you go, well, you know what? It's our supporter for the turn, and healing 80 damage is nice, but you got to have grass energy on it, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, to be fair, Shaymin heals your active, and if your active doesn't have any energy on, that's bad. But the difference is, if you've got an active grass Pokemon with special energy attached, let's say double colorless energy, then you're fine. Counter energy will count as grass energy as long as it's attached to a non-GX, non-EX, and you're behind on prizes. Rainbow energy will count as a grass energy, but double colorless very much won't. So let's say you're in Expand and you've got something like a Vespiquen in the active, for instance. Shaymin can help Vespiquen heal, because it's got a double colorless energy on, but Gardenia would not. It's a very small point, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't expect it to be that relevant, but it's something to bear in mind. So, what are we going to be healing here? I mean, I brought this up in the Life Forest Prism Star video, but Heracross from Burning Shadows. Heracross from Burning Shadows has a great little ability that if it would be KO'd, flip a coin. If heads, the HP becomes 10 and it's not KO'd. Which means next turn your opponent can, I don't know, use poison or something like that. It's only damage from an attack, so if you leave it on 10 HP, there's a bunch of stuff that they can do. So what you really want to do, ideally, is be healing it up, so then your opponent has to get a one-hit KO, do 110, and even when they get a one-hit KO, they've still only got a 50% chance of KOing Heracross. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where Shaymin comes in. If you've got two Shaymin and a Life Forest Prism Star in play, then your opponent puts you down to 10 HP, and you heal up instantly. If they don't KO you, you go back to full HP. If they do KO you, you flip a coin. If heads, you essentially go back to full HP. I can't tell you this is going to be enough to make Heracross super viable, but I can tell you I've had more than one message from people saying that Heracross is their favourite Pokemon. There's a bunch of people out there that like Heracross, and Heracross is getting a lot better than it used to be, which is kind of fun. Of course, probably the more obvious use here is Sceptile. Sceptile is a great little Pokemon, and I say little, it's actually a GX with 230 HP, and it's a Pokemon we like a lot. For 1 grass energy, it does 60 damage and discards a special energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. For 2 grass energy, it does 130 and moves a grass energy to one of your bench Pokemon. It's a nice little attacker, and I suggested playing it like we played Gardevoir back at the London International Championships, whereby you put 1 energy on a 230 HP Pokemon, do a little bit of damage, max potion, little bit of damage, max potion. The thing is, Gardevoir had to use max potion because Gardevoir didn't have anything else. Sceptile can now have a combination of Shaymin and Life Forest Prism Star. Let's say something like a Buzzwole comes along, and they've got their Beast Energy, and they've got their Diancie Prism Star. They're doing 80 damage. That will put a little bit of a dent. Or maybe they have a Choice Band as well, and they're actually doing 110 damage, and they're really getting in there. Well, 3 Shaymin and a Life Forest Prism Star will heal 120, and you're right back to full health. That doesn't mean you can't also play Max Potion and take advantage, but it is to say that all this healing is starting to look pretty gosh darn tasty. Gardenia was your supporter for the turn. It was too awkward. Nobody played it, and I don't blame them. But Life Forest Prism Star, as I said in that video, is a guaranteed one-of in every grass deck, and I refuse to be swayed on that opinion. As for Shaymin, I mean, it's a basic Pokemon, so it's easy to include in your deck. It can be searched out with Netball, which is very nice. And the biggest downside is it's taking up space on your bench. And as we talked about with Sceptile, the new Grovyle allows you to search for 1 grass Pokemon per turn. So you really want to get 4 Trico, so that turn 2 you get 1 Grovyle, which searches 2, which searches 3, which searches 4, and then the next turn they all search out their Sceptile. Sceptile is a deck that swarms very much like the old Garchomp did with the old Gabite, so you might not have that much bench space, but if you do, I think Shaymin's very nice. And it doesn't have to be that you're playing 4 Shaymin here. You could just be playing 1 or 2 Shaymin, just doing a little bit of extra healing per turn. Even healing 20 a turn could be enough to knock your opponent's calculations off so that they don't get a KO when they were hoping they would get a KO. And let's not forget the new Vespiquen that does 120 for a single energy, as long as you've got a full bench or 5 grass Pokemon. That's good. Being an some grass Pokemon to pop on the bench, how about Shaymin? Yeah, you got 120 HP though, and you're probably going to be one-hit KO'd by a lot of stuff, but if you're not, Shaymin says hello. This is exactly the kind of card that some people are going to play to great effect and some people will just ignore. The reality is it can throw off the numbers. And if people play Jinx in the day, people are going to play Shaymin. I'm giving it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. There are uses for this, I'm sure it will see play, and I know some grass decks are going to take great advantage of it. The biggest downside is it takes up a bench space, and when you're looking to play this, the question you've got to ask yourself is, can you spare the bench space? But for now, the question you've got to ask yourself is, what am I going to say in the comment section? Because I would very much like to hear from all of you. Tell me what you think about this Shaymin. Go nuts, but remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.